Hi, my name is Huwaida Alawiye. I work as a food law advisor at Camden BRI, and I cover Arabic-speaking markets in the MENA region. Today, we will be discussing the main markets I cover and I can assist you with, the authorities in charge of food legislation in these markets, as well as general considerations when you decide to export your products to these markets. This is a list that shows the Arabic-speaking markets covered in our regulatory services, such as Tunisia, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, and many other markets. The services include labor reviews and translation, compositional checks, training courses, and any short or long inquiries in relation to these markets. Each mentioned market has its own national authority in charge of food legislation, which means that when exporting to the Middle East and North African region, you need to take into consideration that each country will have its own specific requirements in relation to food products. Some examples of the MENA region national authorities, we have Morocco, the Office National de Sécurité Sanitaire des Produits Alimentaires. In Tunisia, the National Agency of the Sanitary and Environmental Control of Products. Palestine, we have the Palestinian Standards Institution. In Egypt, we have the Egyptian Organization for Standardization. In Lebanon, we have the Lebanese Standards Institution, or LIBNOR. And in Iraq, we have the Central Organization for Standardization and Quality Control. If you're planning to export your products to the Middle East, here are some general labeling requirements that you will need to consider. The table also shows that the requirements in this case have some slight differences. For example, if you're planning to export your products to Lebanon, Iraq, or Palestine, you will need to have on your label the name of the product, the country of origin, instructions of use, list of ingredients, the net quantity, storage instruction, the name of the packer, the manufacturer, or the distributor, and the quid, but the quid needs to be declared under specific product standards. In Palestine, you will also have to have the expiry date on your label. In Lebanon, you need to have the date marking, the lot identification, and the alcohol content for alcoholic drinks. Uh, in Iraq, you will have to have the production date and the lot identification. Please note that these are general labeling requirements, and product-specific requirements need to be considered as well, as allergy notice, nutritional facts table, irradiated food requirements, and halal requirements for each market. The language requirements for these markets is Arabic, and other information provided in another language shall be declared alongside the Arabic. Now we will discuss the GSO, which is the GCC Standardization Organization, and it's a regional standardization organization which was established by the resolution of the GCC Supreme Council and assumed its operation in May 2004 with membership of governments of Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Oman and the United Arab Emirates. The national authorities of each country is in Kuwait, we have the Standards and Industrial Services Affair. In Bahrain, we have the Standards and Metrology Directorate. In Qatar, we have the Qatar General Organization for Standardization. In Saudi Arabia, we have the Saudi Standards, Metrology and Quality Organization. In Oman, we have the Directorate General for Specifications and Measurements. And in Emirates, we have the Emirates Authority for Standardization and Metrology. The GSO standards are the national standards for the GSO members, which means the national standardization body members in GSO need to adopt each GSO standard as their national standard. and that leads to them withdrawing any existing national standard that conflicts with the new GSO standard, and that leads to having one GSO standard as the national standard for all members. If you're planning to export your products to the GCC, here are the main but not all standards that you will need to be looking at and considering for your food products. We have, for example, the GSO 9 2013, which is the labeling of prepackaged foodstuff, GSO 2233, requirements for nutritional labeling, 2500 additives permitted for use in foodstuff. We also have to take into consideration the maximum limits of pesticide, the halal requirements, and many other product-specific requirements. We need to also consider that the product registration process is not unified in the GCC, and it depends on each country. That means that when we want to register our products in the GCC, we need to look at national authorities for each GCC country for food product registration. We also need to consider that even though the GSO is the common body adopted by each GCC member, it is important to go back to the national authorities of each market to check if they have any extra recommendations for specific food products. The language requirements for this market is also Arabic. We will now discuss the general labeling requirements for the GCC market based on GSO 9 2013. So we will need to have the name of the food, the list of ingredients, and also declare the food or ingredients that can cause hypersensitivity. We need to have the nutritional information, the net contents, the name and address of the manufacturer, packer, or distributor, the country of origin, the date marking, the instructions for use and storage, and for irradiated food, we need to include a written statement indicating the treatment next to the name of the product. Thank you for your time. Here are my contact details in case you have any questions on or inquiries on the Middle East or North African region. And alternatively, you can also email regulatoryadvice@camdenbri.co.uk if you have any questions for this market as well. Thank you.